everyone, and welcome to the Mega Gamecast. This is episode 23. I'm Ryan Shepard. With me today, I've got Redbeard.
Yo, what's up?
And newcomer Rose Rend.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
I'm good. Wired. A little bit of caffeine.
All right. That's a good place to start. So, Rose, you're from Austin, Texas, and
Yes.
how can people get to watch you on the internet if they were interested in doing that?
So I'm basically a Twitch streamer.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody ever wants to drop by my Twitch, it's twitch.tv/Rose Rend, ROSEREND. Feel free to come by, follow my Twitter, see me die a lot in games like Dark Souls and a bunch of other stuff, and just come hang out and have some fun.
Cool. Are you on Twitter or anything like that? Any other way people can get a hold of you?
So my Instagram and my Twitter are RoseRend_Twitch. And then on Facebook, you can just search Rose Rend and find my page. Okay. It's all pretty cohesive.
Yeah, and you're pretty active on the Facebook groups.
Oh, yeah. I'm all over the place.
Yep. So you've been playing Dark Souls, and we've all been playing Dark Souls. But first, I'm going to talk a little bit about Ratchet & Clank. See how I did that there?
That's segue.
Yeah, good segue. So Ratchet & Clank came out the same day as Dark Souls, and this is like they're calling it a reimagining of the original game. So the original game came out in 2002, and so far it's pretty much like a really nice looking version of that game. There are some differences that they've changed with some of the level layouts in the way that you get equipment, like you're getting equipment that would allow you to unlock doors and things like that earlier in the game, and just some of the layouts have been tweaked a little bit to kind of speed up meeting different characters and things like that. But pretty much if you've played the original recently, this will probably just be like a big nostalgia trip for you, and it just looks amazing. Like I don't know, you could check out the breakdown video that I did on our channel, and as far as I'm concerned, this is probably one of the best looking PlayStation 4 games that are out right now.
I saw a video. It looks really pretty and like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it does. It's really gorgeous, and you know the humor is still there from the original Ratchet & Clank games. It's very it really lays into the kind of subtle humor and some of the more slapstick stuff as well. I think if you're like Ratchet & Clank and you're interested in picking up this game, I think you definitely should. It's only $40.
Oh, really?
So it's a budget priced game. So
that's pretty awesome.
You don't have to worry about spending the whole $60 on that one. That's my little spiel about Ratchet & Clank. So you guys have been playing Quantum Break as well. We talked about that on the last podcast, but you guys didn't get to have your 2 cents in. Well, what are you guys thinking about that game so far?
I'm really enjoying it. I think it's pretty different. It's not like super outrageous and different, but it's a good break from the kind of games that are coming out currently. So I'm enjoying it.
My thoughts with Quantum Break so far, I like the game. I like the idea of the story. I like the idea of the episodes being attached with it, but I do not like the way that some of the, I guess you say the animations or renderings are done in the game. Some of the animations look poor quality compared to some of the other, not animations, sorry. How can I put this? Textures look different and not as good a quality as some other parts of the game. Like if you have a clip, it looks beautiful and everything. But if you're sitting there and you're walking through something, sometimes the textures don't match up.
Yeah.
And so it looks like you're putting an abstract art next to a Van Gogh. You know, it looks completely different to me.
Have you noticed that the textures don't always load in? Is that
exactly? Yeah, okay. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Another thing, like I said, it's called bump mapping, and that's probably part of the thing where it looks really smooth and it's not supposed to be.
Okay.
But other than that, I mean, the game so far it seems a really nice game. It has a great idea. I think they put a little bit too much money into other aspects of the game than actual quality of the game. You know, maybe paying off the actors for the episodes or whatever it might have been. But I mean, I know I'm always the negative one, trying to find something wrong with the game.
No, usually it's me.
No,
But
I can like agree with that on a certain aspect. Like, it feels like it's a solid game, but like it could have been a really, really good game. Like, it has everything laid out for it to be like beyond successful and like beyond amazing, but it just kind of does really good.
Yeah, I got that a lot, especially early on in the game. It was like everything in this game's all right. There's nothing that's really great, like super awesome about it. Yeah,
exactly. And that was the problem I had with the game. The concept behind the game is freaking awesome. I mean, put a couple, I don't know how much they invested in making this game. If I did, I'd give you numbers. Let's say that it cost about $2 million to make this game. Okay, if they were to add another like $1 million into that, it would make the game that much better. The problem is that they half-assed the game. And we were discussing, before we started this, the game was only about 4 or 5 chapters long. If they made this game longer, I mean, you can really make some money off this game with the episodes and everything that you're doing with this, allowing people to choose their episodes. And I mean, this could tie into so many different things. So you're watching, like, I'm watching a Flash right now or something, and I'm playing a game as the Flash, and I can change the way my episode turns out so that maybe I want the bad guy to win and the Flash to die, Who knows? Maybe that's a possibility, but that whole concept idea is great, and I think that they might have ruined it.
Yeah.
For future.
It's interesting that they decided to go with that TV show thing, because there are choices you make during the game that actually change some of the scenes in the TV show. From what I understand, not a whole lot gets changed. Like the ending obviously doesn't get changed. And what are you gonna say?
Okay, I was gonna say I know how they did it. Okay, so basically you're thinking of clips like you would see anytime that you're creating a movie. You shoot so many clips and so forth, and what it does is that they actually take these and put them together, so it's a bunch of slices. So it's like they're making a pizza and they decided to put pepperoni on there, and or maybe instead of pepperoni they're going to throw on some bacon or mushroom, and so basically they just swap out pieces and just interchange them back into different places, so and then you can still watch the video whichever way you want.
But what that ultimately means though is that the pizza is always the same. Like, you're just changing the toppings.
You're going to have pizza either way.
You're going to have pizza either way.
You're going to have pizza.
But the end result is the same. You're going to have pizza. But, so there just wasn't huge changes in the TV show or the overall story that I saw anyway. I finally completed it. They should have had that. Yeah, it could have been great if there was, like, big changes, like you feel like the story that you're being told you helped shape into something unique. But, so they kind of missed a little bit there, I think. I think it could have been really cool if they had unique stories for everybody. But I can't imagine that, like, as much as...
What was that one game that had that? Do you know what I'm referring to? It was on PlayStation. I don't know if it's on other systems. Until Dawn.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Even then,
where you have...
so, like, as somebody going to school for game design, it's called... What is it? It's like the illusion of choice. So, like, even games that give you the option to create your own story or, like, do this or that, ultimately you only come down to about 3 or 4 options that really matter. That's why you see games like Mass Effect that give you a bunch of options, like, hey, choose your dialogue. But if you choose all the dialogues, you'll notice sometimes they keep leading back to the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
The illusion of choice. To actually give you that much range and choice in a game currently isn't really feasible. Especially along with all the other stuff they're wanting to do with it.
Yeah.
It just, I mean, I tend to think in very, like I said, I'm going to school for this, so I think in very, like, realistic terms of what can be done. So, like, I think for what they had and what they did okay. My main thing with it was the gameplay. Like, it wasn't bad. it wasn't bad at all. And I heard people saying that it lacked depth, and that it was the same thing as everything else. And I kind of felt the same way about it. Like, it wasn't bad. It just felt like I was kind of running through the motions during the actual gameplay sequences. It was, okay, let's freeze this, let's hit these guys, let's go here. The cover didn't really work.
Yeah.
It felt like interludes between the story, as opposed to actually.
I definitely felt that way a little bit too.
Okay, if you're going to be, we're going to be completely honest with it. As far as it goes with mechanics and everything with the game sucked as far as that went. If you're talking about being able to get behind cover, the idea of being able to, you stand up, you get shot. There's no way to block it. You get behind cover, you're still getting shot. There's no way to block that. People come around the side, you're still getting shot. There's no way to block it. Like you said, you freeze time. And then you only have so much time. You're right. It was walking through the steps. Most people aren't paying attention to the gameplay as much as they wanted to get to the end and watch an episode. And that was the problem with the entire thing.
See, that's how I felt originally when I started playing this game. Yep. And by the end of it, after I had gotten into the flow of all the time powers and figured out exactly what the game wanted me to do, it actually started being a lot of fun to navigate the areas, the encounters, and figure out how to take the enemies out. You say that you're behind cover and you're getting shot, but you have the shield that you can pop that gives you a couple seconds to take a breather. This is true. It's not a cover shooter. The cover's there just to give you a second or two for your powers to recharge, and then that's how you're supposed to play the game. You're supposed to just keep using these time powers until you basically take everybody out. And once you get into that flow, it's actually pretty satisfying. There are a couple things that I did that did bug me all the way through until the end, but once I started playing the game on its own terms, so to speak, instead of playing it as strictly a cover shooter like you would with a lot of, like Uncharted or something like that. I actually ended up enjoying it a lot more than I had originally enjoyed it when I started playing.
See, and then just to specify, when I say all that, I don't mean to say that it's not a fun game, because the game can lack depth and be hella fun.
Yeah.
But the issue I had with it is that if you don't play to that specific gameplay style that the devs intended you to play as, you lose out on that fun factor. And that's one of those things as a developer, you have to compensate for multiple kinds of play style. Like, if you want to use the powers every once in a while, you should still be able to have just as much fun as opposed to having to string them together, which is really, really fun. But that's just not the play style for every single person that comes into that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right on point with that. I mean, hit the nail on the head. They don't do that properly. They don't have it available for every type of gamer. Some people just like to get up in your face and shoot someone. I mean, but that's not necessarily how that game was designed. It's one of those. As funny as it sounds, it's more of a straight line instead of make your own choice thing.
Yeah.
Not bad though.
But
it's not bad, and I ended up being pretty satisfied with the story. So I was a little worried it was
so far I'm liking
not
the
be
story.
That great, but it ended up being all right. Yeah. So that's Quantum Break, and now let's talk about Dark Souls. Dark Souls 3 specifically. I am.
Praise the sun.
Yeah, praise the sun. I'm not really too far into it yet. I play these games very slowly. I kind of.
Me neither.
What's that?
I said I'm not far into it either.
Well, I think you're farther than me.
Lies.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, all right. Yeah, Red, why don't you talk about where you are in the game, and then we'll circle back around.
Well, I mean, I'm not. Believe it or not, I'm not even that far into the game. I'm about halfway through, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm down in some dungeons below the cathedral, I believe it is.
Okay.
And so, there are definitely some enemies in there that are, kill you. I mean, everybody gets really rage quit about Dark Souls. You go down into this dungeon and you're like throwing controllers at walls and stuff. I mean.
Yeah.
Well, there's without giving too much away, there's an enemy down there that, and I'm not going to tell you which one it is.
No.
That looks at you, and when it looks at you, your health just starts going down. And I don't mean your health bar. I mean your like actual total and vigor just starts going down. That like red line, it stays at the very end, but the whole red line itself shrinks down till you're dead.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And there's a spot where you come across like 8 of these guys, and if they all look at you, you're dead. So,
what is it? Is it like they just gaze at you? Is it like Medusa or something like that?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of a gaze. You can't move out of it.
Yeah.
But if you're staying in their gaze, you're dead.
All right,
but yeah, it's definitely something. If you're down there, that I would suggest summoning someone else and let them be the lure.
Okay.
Lure them back to you.
Yeah, then smash them up. All right.
So jolly cooperation is what we're gonna need.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. But no, I'm level 78 knight right now. Which isn't too bad, I guess. I'm about halfway through the game. I'm taking my time playing, enjoying the hell out of it, picking up every armor set I can. Believe it or not, I spent, I think it was 2.5 hours in some part trying to get the cathedral armor for the knight.
Okay.
And to make sure I got the cathedral greatsword, and I killed probably over 150 of those damn knights. Yeah. And literally, I had 2 more to kill, and I said, after these 2, I'm done. Second to last guy drops a sword at me, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But, I mean, I'm loving the game. I'm definitely loving the game. I've gotten, like I said, probably only about halfway through it.
Okay.
But I'd like to know where you guys are. See, how are you liking it? Me, I personally love the challenge, but how do you guys like it?
How far are you, Rose?
So I'm actually not super far. I tend to play these games in like chunks. Yeah. So like I'll play for like 2 or 3 hours a day, and then I'll like take a break. So I don't ever like really rage quit because I kind of pace myself.
That's kind of the way I am. If I play too much of it, I just lose patience and.
Yeah, and then I will play it for like a month or something, and I don't want to do that. Yeah. So right now I just got to the swamp, defeated the optional tree boss. So not like super far in, level 30 as a herald. Okay. But my playstyle's a little different. I play smarter, not harder. So I tend to like find the most efficient routes and like cheese bosses as much as I can. Yeah. I was streaming the other day, and I actually was fighting a guy at the bottom of the tower just outside the path of sacrifices, and I walked out the door and he got stuck. Yeah. And so I would run in, like stab him like 3 times and then run out. And the first time I actually fought him, I ran past him and opened the door to light the bonfire on the other side. Yeah. And everyone was watching. They're like, "You didn't fight him?" And I was like, "I'm not going to sit here and die like 18 times and run across this entire map to get to him. Like, I'm going to play my way."
Usually,
this is Dark Souls. Play smarter, not harder.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Dark Souls is one of those games that it's or like Bloodborne and all that. These games. I'm like, I don't feel bad about cheesing stuff. It's like if the guy gets stuck on something, then I'm just gonna poke him until he dies. That's how it's gonna go.
Somebody asked me the other day. I was fighting. I posted a video of myself fighting the master, and somebody was like, "Oh, that guy wasn't even that hard. Like, how many times did you have to fight him? And, like, what took you so long?" And I was like, dude, look, it was difficult for me, and I beat him, and I had fun, and I played my way, so... Yeah.
Oh, well. Good.
Ask Ryan how many times he's had to fight the first boss.
It was one of those, like, I haven't died since till the 3rd boss kind of dudes, and I was like, I'm having fun.
Probably that guy. Did you see that video of the...
The deprived?
Yeah, the deprived just smacking the sword out of him.
Just carrying the shit out of him? Yeah.
That was pretty incredible. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm as far even as you, Rose. But I actually haven't been playing that much. I've actually been playing more Ratchet and Clank than Dark Souls. But I'm finding it fun to explore the world. Like, I like how the game is showing you like where you're going to be later in the game. I like how you can look out and you'd be like, oh, I got to go there, and then I'm gonna go there, and then in 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you're looking back at where you were before.
The level design in it is beautiful. It is so well done.
I played Dark Souls 2 and the first Dark Souls, and I think this is probably the best one that I've noticed it in anyway, in terms of like you said, the level design. Yeah, visually how the levels are just shown to you before you even get to them, and I think it's definitely the best looking game that I've seen in this series. That's for sure.
There's a lot of captions you'll find around in the game where it says, "Look, great view."
Yeah.
You look out and just your point of reference and everything just looks gorgeous in this game. I personally, it's one of the things I love because one of the things I want to do is be a level designer. And with that, just looking at that, it's gorgeous. I have to, tip my hat, whatever you want to call it, to whoever did that. The amount of people that created that and the thought behind it. It just, like you said, it's visually gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
So complex too. I recently did an assignment where I had to map out and recreate the training area for a game, and I chose Bloodborne. And I did Central Yarnum, and it really kind of showed me just the intricacies that From Software takes when they actually do their level design, how you can go from one area and it can connect back to another. Yep. Kind of like after you defeat Vort and you're standing on the edge and you raise the banner or whatever, and you look out and you see, I thought, oh, hey, look, that's a really pretty, picture. And then I was, actually down there, and I was like, oh, wait, I'm actually going to all of these places I saw previously. It's a really nice touch. That
was actually the specific moment that I referring to when I'm talking about most of this, is when you look over that destroyed bridge and you just see the undead settlement and all of the...
And it's an actual world as opposed
you're going to go down and you're going to explore all of that.
You actually beat Vort?
Yeah, I beat Vort.
Last time I talked to you hadn't beaten it.
Yeah, I hadn't beat it yet.
What class are you playing?
So because I take so long with... I slowly go through these games, I get to bosses at 2 a.m. and it's I'm totally exhausted by the time I get... Yeah, exactly. I'm exhausted by the time I get to a boss, and I'm like, well, I got to give it a try. And then I get in there and it's yeah, I shouldn't have done this. Yeah, I shouldn't have done this. And then the next morning I pick it up and it's first try he's down, and it's man, I shouldn't have done it the first time.
That's what I did with the first boss because I got it at midnight.
Yeah.
And I got home. Spent an hour making my character when it doesn't even matter. She's ugly anyways. And then I started playing it, and I got to IEDX, and I was like, this isn't happening tonight, realistically. Yeah.
So I'm playing...
I'm one of those stupid people. I'm like, whatever, let's go for it.
Man, I don't know if it's a thief or an assassin. Or maybe there's one of each of those. He starts with...
There is one of each?
Okay. So I think it was the thief. He started...
Does he have the thing that quiets his step? A magic ability that quiets his step?
Yep.
Then it's the assassin.
Oh, okay.
It's the assassin.
All right. All right. Whatever.
No, you're...
Either way, he started with a parrying sword, the rapier or whatever it's called. It's a pokey sword. And I just love, especially early on in the games, using those kinds of weapons because it gives you that reach to get, you don't have to be right in the face of somebody in order to poke them with it. But then I switched to a broadsword for when I picked that up. So that's what I'm using now. But I just thought that the class seemed to be pretty well-rounded. Almost 10s down the row for all of his stats except for a couple of them. And that's usually, I don't have a class I start these games with all the time. I just look through them and I'm like, oh, I kind of want to try this guy right now. And usually, depending on what you choose, it doesn't really matter because you can, once you start actually playing the game, you can spec your character
Change
any
it.
way you want. Is anybody using
But you may
magic?
not have the armor.
Yeah, well, that's true, yeah. Is anybody using magic that much?
I do, but I don't. The only magic I use is healing.
Yeah.
I put one extra stat into, I think it was faith.
Yeah.
So that I could hold the cleric's little item.
Yep.
So that I could heal
little
myself every now and then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
talisman.
little chime thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the talisman.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I did that too.
That was the only thing I did.
I have.
Yeah.
I started out as Herald. If you want to talk about range and that spear,
Yeah.
oh, it was so great. It's slow, but you could be like super far away and like hit them with your strong attack, and they'd go down with one hit. And I was just like, this is perfect. Just like stabbing people from really far away.
Yeah.
But now I'm using the Uchigatana from the Master.
Yeah.
That
I definitely
guy
want to get that
owned me
weapon.
the first time I saw him.
Yeah, a lot of people are having a little bit of difficulty with that guy, from what I understand.
That's the one I got criticized for.
Yeah.
For like
First
being like, why was it so hard? And I was like,
dude,
it was.
check him out. Do you see what he's doing?
First time I went and played through the game, I'm one of those people that looks everywhere because I'm like, there's something hidden somewhere. I went around to where that guy was, and I was like, oh, an NPC. Let me go talk to him. Went to go talk to him, smacked me in the face, and killed me. I'm like, mother.
Nice.
I didn't even realize he was somebody that you were supposed to kill until he already killed me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a few of these people that they just randomly are sitting there, and like some of them I'm like shooting them with an arrow, and I'm like, because that's sometimes what I do to kite enemies towards me, is like shoot them with an arrow, and then they come at me, and I'll lay 2 or 3 arrows into him before I realize maybe this guy's not actually going to be attacking me. And then I go up to him and they're talking to me. Luckily, they don't. None of them have considered me hostile for doing that now. I know sometimes that can be an issue.
I actually did that on stream. I went into this area just outside the Undead settlement where one of the bridges collapsed, and it was like, be wary of attacking. And I was like, all right. So I started swinging my sword around, and I hit one of the like guys, and he was like, oh, sorry. And I was like, I'm sorry I hit you.
No,
I
hit you. Sorry.
Okay, so that's completely different than the other Dark Souls games, because like with the other ones, if you attack one of the NPCs, they'll kill you.
Yeah,
they'll kill you.
They'll be against you until you kill them. Like even if you die and come back, they won't. They'll still be hostile toward you.
I think that was a request of players because of the fact that sometimes you might have accidentally pressed the wrong button.
Yeah.
And there's no going back. There's no like, hey, let me load a previous save.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that they've changed from at least Dark Souls 2 that's I think made the game a little bit easier. Of course, they have the fast travel where you go back to the Firelink Shrine. And then they also took out the health.
Well, you could fast travel in the other things in 2 as well.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, you could fast travel in 2. Yeah, but you couldn't fast travel in 1. Right?
Yeah. Correct. Correct. Yes.
And then they also took out the you're permanently losing health. Because in 2, if you died, you could permanently lose health up to a certain percentage.
Could until you hollowed. You know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Took the little thing to de-hollow. You can in the other one. I don't know if the health goes down. So this is a little bit another spoiler. This will take about 10 seconds. So if you don't want to hear this, skip ahead 10 seconds. Okay. Or cover your ears if you're listening.
Yeah.
But all right. So there's a point in this game where you find a specific character. Okay. And you have to get yourself killed like 12 times. That you have to be hollified or de-embered or whatever it's called in Dark Souls 3 now. A certain amount of times, and every time you do, you get a free level from this guy to level yourself up. So, pay attention to that. I think I can't remember. I visually I can see where the guy is in my head right now. Actually, I know exactly where he is.
Oh,
Right
yeah.
after you go over that bridge, you go down, across, you're going right into the undead settlement. Instead of going that way, you go the other way, and he'll be sitting over there, hunched over, and he's a guy that you talk to. And the problem is after so long in the game, So,
Yeah. Is he?
I purposely didn't say that so I wouldn't spoil, but you guys
Yeah.
saw what I did.
Okay.
Wait, I think it's the guy I hit. Is he like a pilgrim?
He looks
Like
like a
he's not-
thing with a big rock on his back.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the guy I hit.
That guy.
And I apologize to him about it.
Yep.
That guy
Yep.
disappeared
Yep, but
for me.
Yeah, after I
yeah,
talked to him,
so
he disappeared.
sometimes, if you talk to him, go back to the Firelink Shrine, all right, and
Yeah.
let's say, right, what I'm looking at towards you is right where the blacksmith is.
Yeah. Oh, so
He's
he comes back
this way.
to. Oh, okay. So he comes back to your Firelink Shrine. Oh, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
You'll automatically get one. You want to kill yourself. Basically, if you want to get them quick as you can, it is I think this, and then that many times of.
Yeah.
And you'll get each one of those will give you a free level. So,
All right. Cool.
but that's
That's a neat
just a
little
thought
trick.
for you.
Uh,
Yep. I didn't know. You can restore or whatever something with the lady. Don't do that. Don't heal whatever it is that the fire lady does. Don't heal it. Otherwise, you'll mess it completely up. You won't be able to do it anymore.
Okay.
That's one of the things I really like about these games
Yeah.
is that there's even if you play it through once, one of my friends, he beat the Japanese version and he's replaying it in the English version now. And he was going through and I was telling him stuff and he's like,
You
I
can
didn't even know that
completely
was,
different.
a thing. Yeah, he was like, I didn't know that you could even get that guy out of the prison or that that's where the key was or that you could have this guy join your companion or fight this monster here. He was like, it's like every time you play it or talk to somebody, they've played it differently. And
Yeah.
it's really interesting seeing how people play it differently, but it works for them.
Mhm.
And there's always new stuff to find.
Yeah. I think that's one of the big things about these games that people really enjoy is that that community aspect of talking to everybody and being like, oh, did you do this? Oh, no, I didn't do that. Or did you do this? Oh, yeah, I did that. Or this was easy, that was hard. This is where you find the secret spot and things like that. And it seems like these things are found way after the game comes out. Like, I'm sure there's probably still people finding secrets in the original Dark Souls and Demon Souls and things like that. And yeah, it's pretty cool that they can put so much of that kind of care and attention
Absolutely.
to detail in these games.
I got trolled pretty hard my first playtime through.
Yeah.
Over in the high wall, there's an area where there's this archer on the steps, and then there's this guy sitting at the bottom. If you drop off, you land right in front of where Vord is.
Mhm.
But there's a message there that said illusionary wall, and I didn't know how they were doing illusionary walls in this one, so I attacked it
Yeah.
and just kept hitting it over and over and over. And I was like, well, this has got to be true. And then I backed up a little bit, and there was another message a little bit farther away, and it was liar ahead. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, damn it. Or the secret ahead, and you have to fall off the cliff, and you're like, I don't know, man. Is it worth it?
Yeah.
There are
and
people trolling left and right, hey, jump off here,
Yeah.
prize below, and
Yeah.
you look down and it's yeah, you're full of shit.
Yeah, my favorite one is vision of bonfire ahead, and it's off a cliff,
Yeah.
and you're like, really? Where is? But then you don't know because sometimes the game will be
Yeah.
sometimes you jump off a cliff
and
and it works. Yeah, that's why I really like these games. It's not really for the difficulty or anything like that. It's to explore the world and see how they build it, because I think that's there just isn't really any other game that has world building the way these games do.
where the players are so integral to how the
Yeah.
world is built.
Because
That they
there's so
actually
many
build
secrets,
up around
because
the
there's
players.
so many cryptic things going on.
So I have a question for you guys. Do you like playing alone in a game, or do you like having the ability to summon people and have them come help you?
Usually I like playing alone, except for when I'm going to go up against like a boss or something like that, then I'll summon somebody in.
I like having the option of it. Like I would never ask them to not have that option, but I prefer to play alone unless something's like really just like I can't figure it out. Like I can't get past this boss. Like it's like the 50th time I've tried to play him, then I'll summon someone. I don't know. It's not a cheat. For me, I feel like I've cheated myself.
Yeah.
By like
hitting him. I tend to put my stuff down, and like if I come into a new area, instead of getting killed, like sometimes I'll be sitting there with 40,000 souls, and I don't want to lose them. So I put down my soapstone, have somebody else summon me, and then I explore the world through their eyes. you know, and if I die, I don't lose anything.
You're playing smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Maybe I'll start doing that.
I'm gonna add that to my tactics.
I'll be like, I'll see how this guy fights this boss, and then I'll come around and I'll do it in one try when it's my turn.
Every time that I see that there's a boss up ahead, I'm like, all right, I'm putting my stuff down here. I am not trying this without seeing what the fight is first. I'm not going to go in, half-cocked, not knowing what to do. There's only one boss in the entire game. You have to fight by yourself. You can't get help whatsoever. But, I definitely always check it out first so that I don't have to go in there like, what is he going to do? Is he going to hit me? Is he gonna
What's his third form or whatever?
I mean, does he split up into something? Does he make multiples of himself? I mean, is he weak to fire? Whatever it is. I definitely check into that. Speaking on the whole summoning thing, have you guys noticed any issues as far as summoning people?
I've only had one
personally,
person.
I have.
I've only summoned one person, and it worked fine.
I like summoning people or being summoned. I noticed that summoning people, I constantly get unable to summon. And really? I thought at first, maybe it's my connection, but it's not.
You're hearing other people having the same problem?
The servers are so packed with so many people playing Dark Souls 3 right now that when you're trying to summon someone, you got to think that there's somebody else in the world trying to summon that person at the same time. And if they clicked on it, maybe 2 seconds earlier, they're getting a guy to come help them instead of you.
Yeah.
I mean, next time you guys play, put your soapstone down at right before a boss, and I guarantee you wait 10 seconds and you'll be summoned within that 10 seconds.
Huh. So you guys are playing on PlayStation 4, right?
Yep.
Correct.
How's the performance outside of that?
Amazing.
Yeah, so working good?
Everything other than the fact that with summoning, and like I said, I don't think that's pretty much as much a fault of the game's actual coding as it would be the server being too full. Yeah. But other than that, everything else is working amazing. I to be honest, out of most of the games that have come out, this has had the least amount of glitches. Like I said, I really haven't found a glitch yet. And that's saying something because I'm like anal retentive looking for those because of, I have a degree in game design, and you just, that's the first thing I look for.
Yeah.
Where are the glitches? What's going on? What's wrong?
You're looking for it with a critical eye rather than just going through and having, most people would. I'm the same way too. I do that. I'm like that with movies. Because I'm a video producer, so everything I'm looking like I'm the one that finds all of those that glass was half full when he put it down, now it's half empty or something, or now it's empty, now it's full, now it's empty in movies and stuff like that.
Or that Scotsman's wearing a gold, a gold watch.
Yeah. Now the watch is on the right
1100.
Side. Yeah, something like that.
One of my professors actually told me coming into so I'm also in school for game design, and coming into it, he was like, hey, heads up, you're not going to be able to enjoy video games the way you used to after about a year in this program. He's like, you're going to start noticing that textures are wrong, that things aren't loading in correctly, that the renderings are off, all this stuff. He's like, you're going to start seeing why people got stuck and how it could have been fixed, the pathing for enemies and everything. He's like, you're going to start playing differently and noticing different things. And I was like, and I started playing Dark Souls, and I was actually like, oh, my boyfriend was playing, and I was watching, and I was like, hey, babe, you know the pathing on that enemy is actually very complex, and he was like, okay, just let me play, and I was like, no, it's very intricate, like, very interesting stuff happening here.
Yeah.
And it can be complex. Go ahead, Ren.
Yeah, I was just going to agree with her that, yeah, I could totally see that, why things like that would start really bugging you for sure.
Been doing that for me for years.
I'm playing on PC, and the performance has been great too. No glitches or anything like that. I heard some people were having some issues with the game crashing. Actually, at the first bonfire, ironically enough, like they'd go up to the bonfire, and the pit. A lot of people were really digging into exactly why this was happening, and like certain classes would cause it to crash. So they thought, oh, maybe if you play as a knight, it doesn't crash. And then they were like, 700 series NVIDIA cards seem to be having the problem. So people were like, if you use HDMI out, it's crashing more often. Luckily, I didn't have any of those issues. I was able to. I actually haven't had any crashes or anything like that, which is good because sometimes these Dark Souls games, when they come out on PC, they're not that great. They've had a history of being very glitchy, very unpolished. I know the original Dark Souls actually, in order to be somewhat playable on PC, you actually have to install a fan-created mod that makes the game. I'm not sure exactly what it does, but it makes the game playable.
One other thing, when we were talking about glitches, I had been reading up that there were problems with the bonfire. If you started a new game, some of the items that you had wouldn't work. So, I mean, that's something to think about. If you are one of those type of players that does a new game plus and decides to use your other character and hold on to all the other stuff.
Okay, so some items wouldn't work from previous games?
So when you do new game plus, you basically get to keep all your stuff, your level, all the items you have. And they were saying that some of the items weren't working when you you couldn't use it. It was basically you're holding on to it, but it wouldn't work.
Oh, that's
you
weird.
know. Yeah.
One other thing that I've heard with the PC was that people were getting their save files corrupted. One of my friends, he was playing it on PC, and I think it's like if you hit F4 while you're playing or something weird, like if you close it out, it doesn't just
Alt F4?
Yeah. But anyway, so like if you close it out or something, it doesn't just not save your progress, it could actually corrupt your entire file.
Yeah.
And it corrupted his file, and he had to restart completely, and I've heard that from another 2 or 3 people that they've had the same issues.
Yeah, you're not, if you don't close the game properly, it gives you that warning at the beginning of it that's like, you didn't close Dark Souls 3 correctly last time. Rage quitters get this a lot because they'll just like say they just turn off their Xbox or their PlayStation, especially like right at the end where when you die, it auto-saves every time you die. And if you quit in the middle of that autosave, yeah, you're probably going to screw up a lot of stuff.
Well, beware.
I did hear about. Yeah. I did hear about a couple people having problems on PS4 as well with corrupt files. So
yeah,
I mean, it's a possibility not just on the PC but also on your consoles. So
yeah,
keep that in mind.
Yeah, just don't rage quit. Throw your console out the window. So
yeah.
At this point, where do we think Dark Souls 3 stands in the pantheon of From Software games?
I'm sorry. I'm gonna say right now, from everything that's come out this year, I voted as one of the Game of the Year games.
Okay, I was talking about all of their other games though.
You said
from Software.
Game of the Year.
Trumpet. Yeah, screw that.
This
man.
is the best From Software game that's come out this year.
I'd say it's the best From Software game that's come out. Period.
Yeah, you think so?
Out of all the ones that they've released, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
And that's a so far.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only go uphill from here. I mean, do better next time. I mean, you can't say, hey, do better next time. It's like, do just the same as you did this time, next time, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. What about you, Rose? Where does it stand for you?
I'm having a blast. It's like Redbeard said, it's like the best game that I played this year from software wise. I would say that I like Bloodborne a little bit more aesthetically, just because I'm a little bit more into Lovecraftian kind of stuff. But that's just like a personal thing, and that's simply because of aesthetics. Like, as a whole, I think that Dark Souls 3 is probably a little bit better than Bloodborne.
Okay. That's cool.
I hated Bloodborne.
I didn't like Bloodborne either.
I did not like it. I loved the hell out of Dark Souls. I cannot stand Bloodborne. I don't know why. Just wasn't my type of game. Which is funny because if you went around my house, you'd hear my son saying, "Daddy, you gonna play Bloodborne?
Yeah, I only ended up playing a couple hours of that game actually. I didn't like it very much.
I gave it 4 hours of my time, and I want all 4 hours back.
Oh. Yeah, I think personally, Dark Souls is probably still my favorite. The first Dark Souls. I think this is. I played a lot of Dark Souls 2, but I didn't really like it. I didn't like the world structure. I think this is a good mix of the things that they've. Dark Souls 3 is a good mix of everything they've kind of built up to with all of their games. Like, it has things picked from all of the versions. And I just haven't played enough of it to say whether or not I like it definitively over Dark Souls, but it has potential, that's for sure.
I want to know what they're going to do after this, to be honest.
Yeah, I know.
Like I said, you can only do better from here. I mean, you do the same as you're doing here. I was told this is supposed to be the last of the of Dark Souls.
Yeah.
You know, of the Souls version. The question is what do they do next? And like I said, I'm not a big fan of how they did Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the whole idea of magic knights and all that other stuff, you know. So what kind of idea are they going to come up with next? What's going to be the next big thing from software, you know? Yeah. What are they going to do?
Well, it's probably going to be Bloodborne 2, unfortunately for you and me.
Yeah, I probably still
Good for
will
Rose,
try it
though.
Because granted, though, From Software is really good taking their audience's like criticisms and like.
That's true.
I think that's what they did really well with this one, and why Dark Souls 3 is doing so well is because they've taken the difficulty but also made it more user friendly at the same time.
Yeah.
And added in certain aspects from Bloodborne that people really liked to create a really good game. So I think even if like you didn't like the first Bloodborne, if they made a second one, I think they would do really well taking the critiques and adding in things, because From Software is pretty good about being flexible with their games. Like, they're not going to be like, this is what you get, take it.
Yeah, they seem to take those criticisms to heart anyway. Whether they change anything with it or not, that's to be seen, but they at least, they're listening.
I'd say give them about another 5 to 10 years, and I think they'll be bigger than Bethesda. And you're laughing. I'm serious. I think give them probably another 5 or 6 more games out, and they will topple over Bethesda and freaking our all-time favorite, Ubisoft.
Yeah.
That we're always bashing on.
We'll see. We'll see where they stand, a few years down the line.
Yeah, I honestly, with the success of the Dark Souls series, I can honestly see them just trampling over the competition. And I hope they do, to be honest, because they are setting a standard towards what the other games should be doing. They're giving 100% into it. Like, I mean, how we've discussed with other games where they'll do like maybe this part and not give so much money into that. Yeah. So with this, they're putting all of it into that specific thing, so you don't have to worry about the other aspect of it.
You don't think there's any risk of fatigue with the way that, the games are, when you actually play them, there's certain parts of them that are different, but the overall structure of them seems to be the same. The whole you die and then you have to go back and get your souls, the bonfires, the upgrading your weapons.
Well, like I said, I didn't play enough of Bloodborne to kind of get an idea how that one worked. But with the Dark Souls, that's just the mechanics of Dark Souls. So the question is, what are they going to have them do with a different game? Personally, I like the idea that, hey, if you're fighting and you die, you lose everything. I mean, technically, you should lose everything. I mean, this game, Dark Souls, believe it or not, is very courteous about this because you still get to keep your armor. You still get to keep all, your weapons and everything. You don't, lose so much. You don't lose a level or anything. Everybody's complaining, well, I lost all these souls, but you still have your level. You still have all your weapons. You still have your armor. You can carry everything in your bag on you. You can switch between 30 different armors all sitting in your bag. I mean, your inventory size is unlimited. I mean, you can stash it if you want, or you can hold on to it. I mean, there's a number of things you can do. So, I mean, when people sit there and go, well, this game, you can't do anything, you lose stuff. The only thing you're doing is losing a little bit of time from getting souls. And it makes you think and be strategic about what you're doing. And as Rose was saying earlier, you got to be smarter about what you're doing. I'm not going to go in there and fight that guy. If I could stab him 3 times right now, go back in and stab him 3 more times.
If I could shoot him with arrows 50 feet away, then I'm going to do that. I'm going to get
the Rose way to play.
2 arrows into him before he runs over to me, and then I poke him with a spear.
I think one of the more interesting things that I read about one time was that somebody was explaining how you lose your experience, quote, your souls, whenever you die. But this game relies on the idea that the player is actually gaining the experience, not your character. So you don't automatically just get these stats and these numbers to just roll and do better than the boss. You actually have to be better than the boss, or better than enemy. That's
where like the rogue element comes into these games, where I mean, it's not as awful as like having to start the entire game over when you die or something like that, but you do gain the experience, so you're better the next time you go through, and hopefully you're good enough to get your souls back and you're not rushing through it and getting killed by some peon that you should have just stomped through and lose all your souls or something like that.
If you had to start the game all over after dying, I'd probably rage quit at least once or twice.
Yeah.
See, that's why the game's difficult, but it's still user-friendly. So that's one of the reasons whenever people are like, it's too hard, I'm like, it's really not. It could be so much worse.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
there should
really
be like
isn't. I mean,
be like a hardcore mode where if you only have one death. If you die, you have to start the whole game over.
You start deprived, you have no items, you don't pick up items, like...
Yeah, like... Just fists.
There are people that do that. Like I know there was this one guy that finished Dark Souls 2 without ever being hit.
Yep. That's crazy. Well, there was
I don't have time for that.
There was a guy that beat Bloodborne with the friggin'
I'm sorry, without dying. With
the Guitar Hero controller.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So, I mean, there's a number of things that people find out how to do them. As we were discussing earlier, there are so many different things that people are still discovering in these games. It's like, wow, that was there?
Yep.
Oh, cool, let's grab that, jump down over here. So, I mean, sometimes when you see those little captions that says, jump off here, prize awaiting, there might actually be one down there, even though it looks like you're going to die.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's more...
If I was...
Oops, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if I designed that, I would purposely do that to make sure there was something down there to make you think you would die.
Yeah.
But if you actually had the guts to jump off, that you would get something in return.
Do you feel like there's more items shooting around? Like, I feel like every time I walk into a new area, I see all the little glowing orbs everywhere.
I feel like there are more items than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
There are. I think they increased the drop rate of items and they allowed for more items in this game because... and that goes behind that whole design idea. You have to give players a reason to play the game. And for all the people that rage quit when you lose the souls, what am I getting out of it?
Yeah.
Well, you just got a piece of armor that's like really cool, and might be a little bit better than what you're already wearing. So this is why you should be playing it,
Yeah.
So here, I'm going to give you this. So that's one of those psychological things that they did to keep players engaged into the games, because you didn't have that in Dark Souls 1 or 2. I mean, you really had to look around to find those glowing orbs. They're like, hey,
yeah, I know.
Where's this?
And I know I'm getting a lot more Titanite than I did before. in the previous
Correct.
games.
And well, not so much in the beginning of the game, but once you get towards the end of the game, you start to get more and more. Like even when, as far as I am, the only thing that I'm getting a lot of is Titanite shards and chunks.
Yeah.
I haven't got nearly as much as the other things, and that's only leveling my stuff up to +6. So I mean, you really have to really work hard to get some of the other parts to this. So I mean, you got to take that into idea as well. And sorry, I keep going on about this, but the glowing orbs, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but they're different intensities of illumination with them, and you can tell if something's really good based on how intense the illumination is, based on the way it was in previous games. Yeah, it'll have a really bright glow if it's a really good item, and if it's not a really good item, it'll have a very faint glow to it comparatively to the other games. So I mean, that's an idea for people to think about as well.
Yeah, think about.
You can gauge the risk factor.
Yeah, is that going to be worth it to go all that way? Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
it can tell you whether or not should I jump off here and go for that, or should I just go,
forget it. It's probably just a homeward bone.
Yeah, probably, right?
All right, well, I think that's going to wrap up our Dark Souls 3 discussion. Unless anybody else has anything else to say.
Make sure you get all your flasks and the undead bone things so that you can have the best flasks that you can have.
Yeah.
You know?
Get the good flasks. Premium flasks.
Absolutely. Pick up everything.
If you haven't played the game yet, rent it. Give it a try. Just be patient.
I think this is a good onboarding game for people with these types of games. With the exception of the early first boss, I think it's pretty easy to get into. You know, easier than some of the other games.
Just patience, timing, and memorization are all you need.
Yeah.
How many times did you die before beating the first boss, Ryan?
3 or 4.
Okay, I had one of my friends died 12 times.
Oh, man.
And still hasn't beaten the first boss.
No, I mean, for those listening, the trick is to just get up in his face. That second form, you get right up in there. Get right up in there.
Yep, and
don't
roll.
Yep, just keep. That's how you beat Dark Souls.
Rolling.
Keep on rolling.
Yep.
All right. Well, you can get me on Twitter at @RyanShepard_. You can check out Voxel Voice Facebook group, Gamerholics Facebook group. How do we get a hold of you, Rose?
Always follow me on my Twitter or my Twitch, Rose Rend _Twitch. Also, I'm in both groups as well, Voxel and Gamerholics. I'm super active. I'm always around.
Cool. And Red's just...
I'm on Facebook. You can find me if you look at YouTube or Twitch, even though I haven't been able to upload stuff. Just look for It Is I Redbeard.
Yep.
Yeah, and you'll find me.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.